In today's video, I want to explain how I made this beat. So that sounds like a simple beat. It's a 1-bar loop. I made it on the Move. But what I want to talk about is that you hear 9 different sounds. There's drum sounds, of course, bass, melodic sounds. But the Move has only 4 tracks. So what did I do? I actually made this entire loop on 1 track only by using the drum rack. And this technique is not exclusive to the Move. You can do this in Ableton Live. I will show you how it looks in Ableton Live. The reason why you want to use a drum rack is a drum rack has 16 samples, and on the Move, but also in Live, you can load a drum sampler in a drum rack. So that means that you can play the sample melodically over the keyboard. And it's not limited to drum samples. You can load any kind of sample. So one of the samples that I loaded in here is a chord, and then you can play that chord melodically and in that way create melodies. So the drum rack is very versatile, and since you now have the drum sampler, you can use it for much more than only to create a drum loop. And this really opens up the Move because you have 4 tracks, so 4 times 16 is 64 sample slots, and a sample can be anything. So you can technically create a track with 64 tracks on the Move as long as you use samples. I downloaded the session that I made in the Move, and I opened it up in Ableton, and let's go there to check out what kind of sounds I used and how I put it together. So this is how it looks like when you open up the session in Ableton Live from Ableton Move. As you can see here, I only used the first track. The other 3 tracks are empty. There's no clips. And then I created different variations of the same drum pattern or the same beats, but let's start with the first one. So as you can see, it's a 1-bar loop and it has a bunch of different things in there. So if we just solo the kick, let's put it like this so we can see both the effects as well as the MIDI clip. So there's a kick. Let's play the kick, snare and hi-hat together. Pretty straightforward. Then I use the piano sample. This is an electric piano. This is part of the stock sounds on Ableton Move. And as you can see here, there's a bit of automation. The start point is automated. So in the second part, the sample starts later, just to create a bit of variation. The next one is this vinyl crackle. Then of course there's the bass sound. And for the bass sound, I use the 16 pitches. So it's if you do shift and then the grid icon, you can enable it on the Move, and then you can play any sample over the keyboard. You can change the octaves up and down if you want higher or lower. And that's how I created the bass line. So the starting point is a single note, a C1. But then you can play it. And then I use this sound, the echo strike. And I just changed the velocity, so as you can see, it becomes softer the further you get into the beat. And then all together, it sounds like this. Oh, I missed one sound. This is one of my own sounds. It's a sampled percussive sound that I also play melodically. And the good thing about using this technique is that now I have the basis of a track or a basis of a loop done on 1 track in the Move, and I have 3 tracks left. So I can easily load up another instrument or synthesizer to do some kind of solo on top of it, or to create and for an intro, a different kind of sample set or instrument set. And in this way, you can use the Move to create much more variation and much more complexity. So if you feel that the Move is too limited, try this technique, use a drum rack to make an entire beat, or even try it in live just to kind of challenge yourself and to think differently about what is a track really and how can you use a single note to create a bass line or a melody. You don't necessarily need the full-blown instrument. I think in the end you maybe want to layer more things to it, so that's why if you go to live you don't have that limitation. But as a starting point in Move, even using one track, you can do a lot. So that's it for this video. Hopefully this was inspiring. Thanks for watching. Keep making music, and I'll play you another beat now that I made in live with the same technique.